Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing the new, well, not new, but the old GTX 580, as you can see here in MSI Afterburner and here in GeForce Experience with the driver version 391.35, which is the latest drivers from Nvidia here for the 500 series of graphics cards. Yes guys, I just bought this one yesterday for 20 euros, so a pretty decent deal considering that I'm in Portugal and I can find like GTX 570s for 50 euros. So yeah, a 580 for 20 bucks, not bad at all, and it's working fine as you can see here. We're gonna be playing, by the way, Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1 at 1080p, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna do 900p and 720p as well, or just test the entire range of settings, low, medium, high, ultra, with and without shadows, as well as competitive settings. So as I usually do, you know, we're gonna be testing this one at DirectX 11 because DirectX 12 wasn't really meant to be run on the 500 series of graphics cards from Nvidia. It's a very old architecture, you know, it's like 9 years old, I think. I think it came out back in 2010. Yep guys, I just checked, November 9th, 2010. Yeah guys, I just checked and it's a 9-year-old card. It came out in 2010. So yeah, in November of 2010 actually. So it actually made 9 years old like 20 days ago or something like that. Yep, today is the 29th. It's Black Friday, by the way. Guys, everybody that needs a PC or a GPU or something tech related, just go out and buy it right now. I'm just gonna start the average and 1% lows counting system over here, as you can see. And yeah, it's the best time of the year to buy those things. I have seen some kind of decent deals here in Portugal, to be honest, like RAM to 3200 megahertz for 60 bucks. That's a pretty decent deal. Power supply, stuff like that. But the only thing that I wanted to buy in the Black Friday here was an RX 570 because mine broke and it's not discounted. It's at 150 euros. So yeah, I'm gonna have to buy that used, unfortunately, and I'm gonna take the risk because, yeah, my previous one was bought used as well, and it just broke, of course, as you know, maybe. There he is. Let's get this guy. Oh, it's a bot. Okay, it's not a guy, it's a bot. By the way, guys, talking about performance here with the GTX 580. This is impressive, to be honest. As you can see, it's running at 122 FPS average in the Whipping Woods, which is the most demanding area of the map, of course, as I usually tell you, because I always drop here because there's a ton of foliage and trees and stuff like that, and shadows when those are enabled. So yeah, it's a pretty decent place to benchmark cards in because it's pretty much the most demanding area of the entire map. So yeah, that's why I test everything here in the Whipping Woods, and you guys can compare the graphics cards between each other. So far so good. Low settings is running really well. As you can see, 1% lows at 90 FPS. So this is very nice, guys. I was really kind of not expecting this kind of performance from the GTX 580, considering that it's 9 years old and the architecture, the Fermi architecture, hasn't aged too well, like Kepler, for example. But yeah, this is completely playable. As you can see, if you bought this GPU 9 years ago, and if you're still rocking it, and if you want to play Fortnite, go at it. You're the man, okay? This actually, it's impressive, okay, guys? It's just impressive. So I'm gonna stop it right there for the low low settings, and we're gonna do competitive now, and medium and high, no shadows and stuff like that, because yeah, it's running really well even here at 1080p. So there's really no point in playing it at 900p or 720p unless you want 144 FPS for a high refresh rate monitor or something like that. As you can see here, competitive settings should run about the same as low, to be honest. When you are CPU bottlenecked, you see like a 10% or a 10 FPS difference between low and competitive settings. When you aren't CPU bottlenecked, you see like a 5 FPS difference maximum between low and competitive. So it's pretty much the same experience, to be honest. You aren't really gonna notice a 5 FPS difference between like 110 and 105 FPS, to be honest. I at least can't really find a difference between that. It's pretty much the same experience, and that's why I'm here commenting in the video, because I want to share my experience with you guys in real time here, while providing you with information and stuff like that, and talking about crap and dying and screaming because I don't like to die, and Yes. So thank you so much for being here, by the way. Everybody that didn't hit that like button yet, please do so if you are enjoying the video or if it's informative for you. And I appreciate it very, very much, of course. I think that's it for competitive settings. As you can see, it's still very smooth here. I am, of course, running a 60 Hz monitor right now. It's not really a 60 Hz monitor, but the capture card only captures at 60 Hz. So I am a little bit limited here. I'm limiting my GTX 580's potential by running it on a 60 Hz monitor while it's getting like 109 FPS. And by the way, the difference between 100 FPS and 60 FPS is definitely noticeable, and it's definitely more smooth at 100 FPS, obviously, in a high refresh rate monitor. In a 60 Hz monitor, it's pretty much the same thing, to be honest. There's kind of a little bit less input lag when you're playing at higher frame rates, but that's pretty much it. So as you can see, 110 FPS average, 88 FPS, 1% lows. This is impressive here for the GTX 580. It's doing a very, very good job, but now it's where it's probably gonna get on its knees, because medium settings is very demanding, especially because of those shadows. So let's see how this does. Oh my gosh, wait a second. I thought it will do worse, actually. As you can see, we're still above 60 FPS. This is impressive, guys. I love this, okay? By the way, this is a 1.5 gigabyte graphics card. It has 1.5 gigabytes of VRAM. And well, guys, these are kind of the PS4 or Xbox settings, because I noticed that the shadow render distance in the consoles are pretty much the same as medium settings on the PC. As you can see, the shadows just render in at a very short distance, and I don't really like that too much. Should we, guys? Should we, guys? Oh boy, oh boy, oh, I can't. 60 hertz, 60 hertz, I can't. God damn it. We shouldn't have done it. Wow, okay, so we got a new thing over here. That's awesome. Well, okay guys, we're back here in the battle buzz at medium settings. As you can see, 1080p, DirectX 11 of course. And by the way, I think I didn't say it, but DirectX 12 in these older cards, and especially Nvidia cards, doesn't perform as well as DirectX 11. So just play in DirectX 11 if you have something like a 500 series, 400 series graphics card from Nvidia, even like 700 and 900 series, even the 10 series. I tested the 10 and 16 series. I'm saying series too much, but yeah, I tested those. Jesus, this is a big thing over here. Look at that. And even the 16 series got an FPS drop by playing on DirectX 12 compared to DirectX 11, so keep that in mind, you know. Unless you are CPU bottlenecked, I don't recommend DirectX 12 on Nvidia cards, or maybe at least in the 10 series and lower, you know, so keep that in mind. Okay, so our FPS are pretty good here on medium settings. We've already seen it for a little bit, you know, but let's just run around for a little bit longer here. If you are looking for a 60 FPS experience with a card like this, you can get it on medium settings. It's impressive what this little card can do. It's actually a huge card, by the way. Just look at that die in like pictures of the PCB and stuff like that. You'll see this is a humongous. I never said that word before, actually, but this is a humongous card, by the way. And as you can see, guys, it's actually an EVGA superclocked version of the card. It has a blower style cooler. It isn't too loud. I can hear it even with my headphones on, but it's not really too loud, and it's running at 70 degrees Celsius. This is impressive, actually, for a GTX 580. When I bought it, Digimon asked me, is it gonna run hot because of the blower style cooler? And I was like, oh yeah, this is one of the hottest cards in history, you know, aside from the GTX 480, for example. That was an impressive space heater. And I said that, yeah, it's gonna be running pretty hot. So let's just disable the shadows, by the way. To my surprise, it's not running hot at all, you know, 70 degrees Celsius on a GTX 580. Keep in mind that this was like the 2080 Ti at the time, you know. There were no Ti versions. The 580 was the best card, or best consumer card from Nvidia. And by the way, I'm missing too much. God damn it! You guys that are high refresh rate gamers will know the struggle when you get back to a 60 Hz monitor and play with 60 Hz or 60 FPS. yeah, you know, you guys will know the struggle, so don't blame me for not playing too well here with the 580 today. I needed to get like a few more games going to get my 60 hertz inside of my brain, you know. But alright, if you have a 60 hertz monitor and if you are used to it, you can play it like this. It's perfectly playable, by the way. It's just me that I'm not used to it. Enough with the excuses, Crisp. What the heck are you talking about? Just keep on playing the game and talking about stuff. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. As you can see here, our 1% lows are now above 60 FPS at medium settings without shadows. Our average is actually at 78 FPS. That's pretty impressive as well. So I'm liking this. I'm honestly liking the performance of the GTX 580, and it's actually growing on me. You know, somebody said in the Instagram post, because when I bought this I actually put it on Instagram as well, just right away, you know, and we're on high settings, by the way, and we're still above 30 FPS, so that's good to see. I think the 750 Ti, no, the 750 Ti dropped from 30, but it was in DirectX 12, so it was running a little bit worse. As I was saying, every time I buy a new GPU or an old GPU or a used GPU, I post it on Instagram. So if you guys aren't following me yet, just go ahead and do so. The link is down below in the description. And yeah, one guy just said that he likes older cards more than the new ones, and I kind of fall into that little space, you know, space. That's not the word that I was looking for, but whatever. And I do enjoy, like, my favorite card here that I have is probably the GTX 780, because it marks like an era where I was getting into PC gaming, like for real, you know. Before that I only had laptops and stuff like that, lower end laptops, and then oh my gosh, look at those FPS drops, Jesus. Okay, so there's something with the water that the Fermi architecture doesn't really like. When I had a GT 630M laptop and I played Battlefield 3 on it with like 50 FPS at 720p, the best GPU that was around was the GTX 580, this one, and I was amazed at what this GPU could do in Battlefield 3 at 1080p, and I was completely like, I saw like videos on YouTube on benchmarks, you know, on the GTX 580 at the time, and I just thought to myself, man, I wish I had this card. This is amazing. This is the best experience ever. And honestly, at that time I just wanted to get a GTX 550 Ti, but I didn't have money, of course. I was 15, 16. Never mind. Okay, high settings is playable with like 30 FPS. You guys that are after that experience can do that with the GTX 580, and dropping the shadows of course puts us much closer to 60. It almost gives us 2 times the performance. We're getting like what, a 40% more FPS by dropping the shadows here, so that's pretty damn good. I would like, honestly, if Epic did something to the shadow optimization, or at least broke it down into different settings, because I think, yeah, ambient occlusion and stuff like that is also introduced within the shadow quality settings. So as you can see, there's no ambient occlusion right now, and if I enable shadows, there will be ambient occlusion and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a ton of different settings that are implemented into one single setting, which is the shadow quality. That's why when you drop the shadows from the game, you get like almost twice the FPS. So okay, I maybe would like to only put on shadows without ambient occlusion or something like that. The game would look prettier than this, high without shadows, and it will still run better because ambient occlusion was not enabled. So yeah, something that I'd like to see, you know. Epic, please. 57 FPS average, 35 FPS 1% lows. This is playable, you know, no problems whatsoever with this. And now let's get to the unplayable part of the video, which is Epic settings. Of course, the game looks beautiful, and of course, one guy is right there. Now that I have 20 something FPS, he just appears here. As you can see, the shadows and stuff like that look amazing here. Yeah, there's the ambient occlusion around stuff as well. Oh boy, okay, so he spotted me, and he has a bazooka, so we're gonna die, guys. Oh my god, 25 FPS. Okay, I'm just gonna die and get into another one. Okay, can I? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Of course I wasn't gonna do anything with these FPS, it's unplayable. By the way, as you can see guys, we are on epic settings without shadows right now, and we're getting more FPS right here than we did in the Whipping Woods on high settings without shadows. So keep that in mind, always keep that in mind in my videos, because you'll get more FPS outside of the Whipping Woods. As you can see, we aren't really dropping from 60 FPS here on the lobby screen, on the waiting screen. Okay, let's start our accounting system here. I wish I could like drive that car at least. It will be fun here in Fortnite. Well, maybe not, you know, after the mech thing. Nobody wants vehicles and stuff like that in Fortnite. The boats are enough, I guess. As you can see now, we're getting a few less FPS in high settings with shadows enabled. Without shadows enabled, well, yep, that's what I meant. And yeah, that's to be expected. I'm gonna see if I can see some ambient occlusion. I don't think so, guys. Okay, so approaching here the water, as you can see, our FPS dropped by a little bit, not quite as much as like high settings with shadows enabled or epic settings with shadows enabled. Yeah, there's no ambient occlusion here with epic settings and no shadows, so keep that in mind. That's, oh my, okay, I definitely didn't notice this. And there's one guy really close. Oh boy, okay, this is playable, all right. Around 60 FPS. I should probably drink my mini shield and my big shield. What the heck am I doing, guys? I'm not paying attention to the game. You know what, guys? This is kind of impressive. Always remember that this is a 9-year-old card. You know, it's impressive for a 9-year-old card. Yeah, if you overclock it, you're probably gonna get the 60 FPS average here. So that's really nice, you know. The final question for those of you that were looking for a GTX 580 video and maybe consider buying it, will I recommend this one? And it's hard to tell, honestly guys, because I bought it for 20 euros. It's probably the best price performance that I got so far in a used GPU here in Portugal. But you know what? For the power it consumes, because it does consume 250 watts of power, which is insane, you know, you're gonna need a very beefy CPU power supply to go with it. Maybe if you can get it for 20 bucks and all you want is play Fortnite and PUBG and like Overwatch and stuff like that, which should run really well in this card. I'm still gonna be testing those, of course. But I don't know, guys, it's really hard to me because I enjoy playing with this card, to be honest, and it's probably one of my favorites right now, to be honest again. But it just consumes too much, you know. I didn't recommend the GTX 780 because it consumed too much. Should I do this? Right there. Okay, where is it? Come on over here, boy. Come over here, boy. Oh my gosh, he just built a castle in like 1 second or less than 1 second. Oh, okay, he doesn't have shields anymore. Where is he? What the heck? What the hell? How did he get there? Oh my gosh. Well guys, okay, 57 FPS average, 45 FPS, 1% lows on epic without shadows. That's a pretty decent result. Just spend a little bit more on a used GPU, like for example the GTX 950, which I think it performed pretty much the same as this, and your electrical bill will thank you very much every single month. So and of course this one can't really play the latest and greatest titles, whereas the 950 can, sort of, not with like a very playable frame rate, but at least it opens the game and you can get like 30 plus FPS at least. Yeah, this one, because of the drivers being so old and it hasn't received drivers since March of 2018, yeah, you can't really play, for example, Battlefield 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, stuff like that won't open in this video cards because of the drivers. I'm sorry you had to be staring at this guy over here for the last like 2 minutes or so, but don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one, hopefully. Love you all. Bye bye.